Hello everyone, welcome to PRATHAM Test Prep. My name is Ashish Bhargav and here we have with another episode of Daily News Analysis. I know this is very important to know about the basic foundation for the current affairs. So if you inculcate the habit of reading the newspaper, that is very important for you. The very first thing what you will get advantage that you will be aware about what is happening around us, and second thing, it will be help you out in order to prepare your competitive exams. So as you know that the importance of the newspaper is that you would be able to solve the current affairs. Second thing, that in any kind of debate you would be able to stand out your point, and the third thing is that newspaper gives you an wings to fly. This is something out of the box, but wings to fly, which means that you are aware, you will be aware about that what is happening, what should be the government point of view, and that what should be the way forward. So here we have it, another episode guys, and make sure if you are new in this channel, please subscribe our channel and do not forget to press the bell icon. And second thing is that I hope आप सारे अच्छे होंगे and you guys are doing pretty well. Before we start the session, I just want to know कि यहाँ पे am I audible and visible to everyone? Am I audible and visible? Okay. So my friends, this is very important. Like in majorly we discuss about the Hindu and Indian Express. And what exactly we do that in daily news analysis, we discuss about national news, international news, economy-based news, sports-based news, science and tech, personal news, summits and conference, miscellaneous, and apart from that we also discuss about Supreme Court verdict, any amendments, any bills which is in the Parliament. This is very important. And here is, nobody can go back and start a new beginning, but anyone can start today and make a new ending. And here is questions of the day. We'll ask you the 5 questions. My friends, this is very important because until or unless you will not develop the temperament to solve the MCQ, that would not be easy for you to crack the exam. Because MCQ solve karna to having information, gather information and solving question, there are 2 different techniques, right? So, and quick tips, which means that with the help of mnemonics will give you certain kind of tricks that will help you out, like how many countries in SAARC, how you will learn in the SAARC country, what is the ASEAN, like what is the G20, how many countries are in the G20. So these kind of tips with the help of mnemonics, with the help of mind maps will tell you at the end of the session. Stay tuned till then. And here we have is very first news is that how MPs are suspended. It means that in short we can say MP, which means member of Parliament. My friends, जो MP, पहले तो आपको ये चीज़ समझनी होगी, our Parliament consists of. So in short, our Parliament consists of 3 parts. One is Lok Sabha, which is known to be a lower house, and then Rajya Sabha, which is known to be a upper house, and the third one that we can see is the President. So President is the part of the member of Parliament, right? Sorry, President is the part of the Parliament, not member of Parliament. So why President is a part of Parliament? Because without the President accent, without the President S, and no bill can be formed as an act, right? So Lok Sabha lower house, Rajya Sabha upper house. The MPs can be represented in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, right? Now 78 opposition MPs were suspended from Parliament on Monday, 33 from the Lok Sabha and 45 from the Rajya Sabha, taking the number of suspensions this session to an unprecedented 92. And this data, if you update it, that is more than 100 MPs that is suspended from the Parliament. Here, the very first thing that Mahua Moitra case that you are aware about, that what is happening in our Parliament, and you should know about the background. The very first thing that you should know, that why were the MPs suspended? The very first thing. Second, questions that you need to raise, what the important takeaways that you should remember is, why do MPs of disrupt Parliament? Third, so who can suspend the MPs and what is the constitutional provision for that? Next thing that you should know, how long can member of parliament be suspended for? What is the duration for that? And the next one is suspending MPs common practice. This all answer will tell you in a very short and crisp manner. The very first thing that you should know about 33 Lok Sabha member and 45 from Rajya Sabha, all belonging to the opposition. The first thing is noted to be that all are not from the none of the MPs are from the BJP. So the opposition, they all are from the opposition. So India group were suspended on the Monday, opposition in. So 14 opposition MPs had been suspended for the remainder of the session last week. Almost 12% of the combined strength of the parliament, 39% of MPs in India alliance are now suspended. So the all democratic norms are being thrown into the dustbin by a autocratic Modi, that Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge posted on Congress leader Jairam Ramesh. So the Piyush Goyal, leader of the House in the Rajya Sabha, reiterated the rude behavior of the Congress and its friendly partner has embarrassed the entire country. Both the speaker and the chairman were insulted today. The first thing that you should know, that why were the MP suspended? First thing, that the MPs in both house, क्योंकि यहाँ जो आपके लोकसभा में होते हैं वो भी मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट ही होते हैं, राज्यसभा में होंगे उन्हें भी मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट भी कहते हैं, राइट? दे बोथ गेट सेम पॉक्स इन प्रिविलेज, राइट? सो यहाँ पे मेंबर ऑफ MP है, यहाँ भी MP है. So MP in both houses were suspended for disrupting parliamentary proceedings while protesting last week Parliament security breach. So in Lok Sabha, the opposition demanded a statement from the Home Minister Amit Shah. Some MPs that waved placard with their demands. जिसमें तीन थे हमारे, के जय कुमार, विजय वशिष्ठ and Abdul Khalik, all from the Congress. So in राज्यसभा जो opposition है वो ये डिमांड कर रहा है कि like raise slogan on the parliamentary breach and disrupted proceeding. तो in short parliament की जो proceeding है, जो आपकी क्वेश्चंस आर 0 आवर से स्टार्ट होती है, वो कहीं ना कहीं डिसरप्ट हो रही है. एंड व्हाई डू एमपी डिसरप्ट पार्लियामेंट? उनका क्या मोटिव इनके पीछे? सी, देयर इज एन ओल्ड ट्रेडिशन इरिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ विच पार्टी और अलायंस इन एन अपोजिशन दैट ऑफ एमपी कॉजिंग अ, यू कैन से, there is an old tradition that irrespective of which party or alliance in opposition of MPs causing a ruckus inside the parliament over the years, 4 broad reasons have been identified for disorder in legislature. So there are, the first thing that we should know, like the lack of time available for MPs for raising important matter. Second thing is that the unresponsive attitude of the government and retaliatory postures by treasury benches. The third क्या होता है हमारा, जो deliberate और disruption होते हैं by parties for political or publicly purpose, absence against MP disrupting parliamentary proceeding. So over the decades, the opposition has in deciding the parliamentary calendar has been reducing. Right, the very first point. Next is, not only does the government set the agenda in parliament and decide how much time will be dedicated to any issue. So parliamentary procedure also prioritizes government business over other matters, and parliament has not updated in its rules over the last 70 years in this regard. So all party had disrupted parliament and their view or disruption that have been determined almost always by whether they are in power. So who can suspend the MPs? The presiding officer. The presiding officer का मतलब होता है Speaker of Lok Sabha and Chairman of Rajya Sabha. That plays a major role in meting out suspension. So in Lok Sabha, Speaker acts in accordance with Rule 373, 374 and 374A of the Rules of Procedure and Code of Conduct of Business. In Rajya Sabha, the Chairman acts as the Rules 255 and 256 of the rules. The procedure in the both house in the largely quite similar. So for the presiding officer can direct an MPs to withdraw from the house for any disorderly conduct, Rule 373, right? So while these rules have mostly remained unchanged since 1952 and 2001, Lok Sabha further empowered the Speaker to deal with the grave and disorderly conduct as per the new rule. Notably, you should know the Rajya Sabha has some not incorporated this provision in this procedure on Monday. So how long MP can suspend it for? देखो इसके लिए कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजन समझना होगा. So mild offences are punished by admonition or reprimand, with the latter being the more serious of the two punishment. So after it this comes the punishment of withdrawal as per the rules 373 जो आपका 373 rules है in लोक सभा में. So rule of procedure and conduct of business, the speaker, if he is to be opinion that the conduct of any member is grossly disorderly, may direct such member to withdraw immediately from the house. So maximum कितना टाइम तक? So जो प्रिसाइडिंग ऑफिसर है वो डिसाइड करते हैं इन चीज़ों के ऊपर में. So a member can be suspended at the maximum for remainder for the session only. जैसे सेशन कितने होते हैं पार्लियामेंट में? मॉनसून, विंटर एंड बजट सेशन. तो सेशन के लिए वो नहीं आते फिर. सो मेंबर सस्पेंड हो सकते हैं मैक्सिमम उस सेशन के लिए. मोर ओवर द हाउस एट एनी पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम कैन रीइंसेट एट सस्पेंड मेंबर बाय पासिंग अ मोशन. और उसमें डिफरेंट टाइप के आपके मोशन होते हैं, राइट. सो इज सस्पेंडिंग एमपी इज कॉमन प्रैक्टिस? नो. सो यहाँ पे बहुत सारे रूल्स हैं. मोस्ट केसेस डिसऑर्डर इन द हाउस अराइज आउट अ सेंस ऑफ फ्रस्ट्रेशन दैट फील्ड बाय मेंबर्स ड्यू टू लैक ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी टू मेक दिस पॉइंट. सो यहाँ पे आपको ये चीज़ समझनी होगी, while it is a strong step, it is not uncommon. However, the member of suspension have gone up over the last few years. At least 149 suspension have been meting out, and both house included since 2019 compared with the at least 81 in 2014 to 19. So these things we got in very detail. Now we move to the next one. यहाँ भी आपको constitution से है anti-defection law. So it is highly unlikely that political defection as well as India anti-defection law that will ever not to be a part of public discourse. So the Speaker of the Maharashtra Assembly, so anti-defection law that found under the 10th schedule of the Constitution, क्योंकि ये हमारा जो anti-defection है, that anti-defection is in the 10th schedule of the Constitution. 10th schedule of the Constitution. So the anti-defection law found under the 10th schedule of the Constitution was enacted to curb frequent floor crossing by legislature. It provides for the disqualification of elected legislature from the legislature in the instance where they voluntarily switch parties to vote against the party direct. So but when 2/3 of the elected members of the party agree to merge, जब 2/3 जो party के members हैं, if they are agree to merge, and then what case? Then with another party they becomes expelled from disqualification. My friends, इसमें एक आपको important चीज़ें ये जाननी है कि 2003 से पहले there was a provision and where if a result of a split in the original party, 1/3 of the members of the legislature moved out to the party, they were exempt for disqualification. And however, given its excessive misuse, the provision was omitted by the 91st Amendment of the Constitution. It is 91st of the Constitution. So owing to the deft use of the exemption under the 10th schedule and the democratically elected state government of fall. So in the last 10 years alone, group defection have caused the unraveling state government in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Manipur, Karnataka and Arunachal Pradesh. So in short, splitting and merging MLAs were exempted from disqualification under the 10th schedule to protect the instance of principal elections, especially where MLAs found themselves at odd with the ideology of their original party. However, the practical use of these exceptions that belies this expectation with mergers being engineered strategically to bring down elected government. जो merger होती है my friends, उसमें क्या होता है? Like the merger exceptionally should be delected from the 10th schedule of the Indian Constitution. Because यहाँ पे condition ये है कि अगर 2/3 of majority that merged with the another party, in that case that cannot be comes under the ambit of anti-defection law. Article 105 Constitution में क्या है इसकी provision? So Article 105 that does not grant absolute immunity to parliamentary proceedings. Judicial scrutiny is allowed for privilege enforcement. Sorry. So judicial scrutiny is allowed for privilege enforcement method subject to constitutional provision. Asymmetric federalism, ये क्या है my friends? Article 370 is seen as the most obvious example of such federalism. Many states enjoy special provision. अब यहाँ पे आपको ये चीज़ समझनी होगी कि लाइक यहाँ पे CJI चंद्रचूड़ साहब जी ने क्या चीज़ें कहीं जो हमारे चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया हैं. Constitutionally, Indian governance structure is quasi-federal. कहीं कि इसको quasi-federal भी कहते हैं. That is quasi-federal. So, my friends, quasi-federal, which means the most of the power of the Indian government that vested with the central government, which means most of the power is inclined towards central government. Like जैसे आप देखें यहाँ पे कि state list, union list, and concurrent list, and residual list. So whatever the things mentioned the state list, like यहाँ पे अगर आप देखो state list में for example forest है, education है. So in education, like state government have sovereign power to make laws, but despite having this, central government can make a law on that. Example, national education policy. So India की जो governance structure है is quasi-federal. While is a unitarist setup, the power to legislate is concentrated in the center. In the federal structure, the units that have federation have varying degree of autonomy and powers to conduct their affairs. So we have to understand in the Indian context, while states do not have autonomy, the constitution tilts towards the center on certain areas, thus making it quasi-federal. जो 7th schedule है constitution का, that is 7th schedule of the constitution, contains the union list, state list, and concurrent list that prescribe subjects that are centers and state are empowered to legislate upon those in the concurrent list, which जहाँ पे both center and state can legislate upon it, law बना सकती है, right? So quasi-federal structure का मतलब है कि that leans more towards the center. Not all states are equal. India की जो plurality है, so India's plurality necessities such as arrangement and constitution, बहुत सारे states के special provision है Article 370 and Article 371A में. Like Nagaland and Mizoram की अगर बात करें तो, like Nagaland and Mizoram, for example, enjoyed a negotiated autonomy which was a political compromise between India and Nagas and Mizoram independence movements. So under it, Parliament can make no law that interferes with religious and social practice of Nagas and Mizos and with the ownership of transfers of its land and natural resources. बात करें in the case of Jammu and Kashmir की, the petition challenging the center's 2019 abrogation of Article 370 that has argued, क्यों? उसमें कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली जो प्रोविजन है वो हम कई बार डिस्कस कर चुके हैं माय फ्रेंड्स. उसमें आपका मेंशन क्या है, उसमें ये है टेम्पररी प्रोविजन था ऐसा. अगर आप देखें यहाँ पे या देखो, सो आर्टिकल 370 वाज अ टेम्पररी प्रोविजन फॉर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. स्पेशल प्रिविलेज जो है दैट वर टेम्पररी, कैन नॉट बी कन्फेयर राइट्स इन अ पोजीशन विद आर्टिकल 14 व्हिच गारंटीज इक्वालिटी कैन बी रिवोक्ड थ्रू प्रेसिडेंशियल ऑर्डर, राइट? चलो जी, यहाँ पे नेक्स्ट पे देखते हैं. सेंट्रल लॉन्च फॉरेस्ट सर्टिफिकेशन स्कीम्स टू काउंटर फॉरेन एजेंसीज. इसमें हमारे पास IFWCS है, Indian Forest and Wood Certification Scheme, that will offer an alternative to the private foreign certification agency that have been operating in the Indian market for the last 2 decades. So in short, that you should know about what is the role. So the international concern on the deforestation, my friend, afforestation, deforestation, which means that you must aware about it. Deforestation and illicit trade in the timber. The government has launched its own national forest certification scheme to validate the entities that adhere to sustainable practice in management of forest and products. उसके लिए हमारे पास क्या है, गवर्नमेंट ने लॉन्च की IFWCS. So IFWCS, which means the Indian Forest and Wood Certification Scheme, that will offer a alternative way to the private foreign certification agencies that have been operating in the Indian market for the last 2 decades. So यहाँ पे आपको इसमें क्या क्या चीज़ें इंपॉर्टेंट है, ये जो सर्टिफिकेशन लॉन्च की जाएगी दैट फॉलोज द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ न्यू स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑफ फॉरेस्ट मैनेजमेंट दैट विल बी मैंडेटरी फॉर ऑल फॉरेस्ट डिवीजन इन द कंट्री. सो हमारे इंडिया में जो फॉरेस्ट होती है, देखो सबसे पहले आपको ये चीज बेसिक निटी-ग्रिटी ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट दैट यू शुड नो अबाउट. द फॉरेस्ट इज इन द स्टेट लिस्ट. सो आर्टिकल 7 शेड्यूल 7 अकॉर्डिंग टू 7th शेड्यूल ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, that state list, union list, concurrent list and residual list is mentioned. While that you should know that forest is a part of the state list, and as we had discussed couple of times in newspaper analysis, the India's structure is quasi-federal. Quasi-federal, which means that most of the power is inclined towards central government. So forest in India को managed according to their respective working plans. और ये जो वर्किंग प्लान्स होते हैं वो अपडेट होंगे विद द न्यू डेवलप्ड इंडियन फॉरेस्ट मैनेजमेंट स्टैंडर्ड्स दैट कंटेन्स 8 क्राइटेरिया, राइट. वो हम डिस्कस बहुत डेप्थ में नहीं करेंगे बिकॉज हम इंडियन फॉरेस्ट सर्विस के एग्जाम प्रिपरेशन नहीं कर रहे हैं, वो उनके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है. आपको बस बेसिक पॉइंट समझनी है कि ये जो गवर्नमेंट ने स्टैब्लिश की है IFWCS, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ वर्क is handling by the department, and IFWCS that would offer certification for the sustainable forest management, right. So जो certification होगी that may be used to forest management units, जो corporation sectors होते हैं, wood based industry, tree growers, timbers of Anti-defection. अब Anti-defection क्या होता है my friends? non timber forest produce, right. तो बात करें हम अगर दूसरे कंट्री से अगर कंपेयर करने की कोशिश करें, यूरोप और यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स दैट हैपन टू द लार्जेस्ट एक्सपोर्ट मार्केट ऑफ इंडियन फॉरेस्ट बेस्ड प्रोड्यूसर्स प्रोडक्ट्स जो होते हैं हमारे पास, लाइक पर्टिकुलरली जो हैंडीक्राफ्ट और फर्नीचर्स होते हैं. आपको पता होगा माय फ्रेंड्स, द टाइम ऑफ ब्रिटिश अराइवल इन आवर कंट्री, आवर हैंडीक्राफ्ट इंडस्ट्री वाज कंप्लीटली रूइंड बाय द ब्रिटिशर्स. इनिशियली इंडिया वाज अ लैंड ऑफ export that become land of import, and the heavy taxes was imposed on that time. So the entire story that you need to inculcate in yourself in order to prepare your exam, right. So अभी recently आपने देखा होगा कि 2021 में जो ग्लासगो में हुआ क्लाइमेट चेंज कॉन्फ्रेंस, अभी COP28 हो रही है, तो मतलब एक साथ आपको बहुत सारी चीज़ों को मिक्स करनी है so that you have a such kind of background which is very important. चलो, I hope this one is very clear. And here is यूरोपियन यूनियंस ने एक एक्ट निकाला, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस एक्ट. सो इसमें क्या, आज यू नो दैट इसमें जो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस में आपका यूज़ देखा होगा आपने डीप फेक्स के ऊपर, राइट, जिसमें कि मॉर्फ वीडियोस होती हैं एंड पीपल आर यूजिंग टू टार्निश द इमेज ऑफ समवन, राइट. एनी पॉपुलर स्टार्स, जैसे कि बड़े बड़े स्टार्स हमारे इंडिया में हैं, सेलिब्रिटीज़ हैं, उनको मॉर्फ वीडियोस या वॉइस ओवर को चेंज करते हैं. तो यहाँ पे द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स ऑफ द EU यूरोपियन यूनियंस आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस एक्ट, ये वर्ल्ड फर्स्ट लेजिस्लेशन है आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का. मेक श्योर ये पूरे वर्ल्ड का, दैट्स द वर्ल्ड्स फर्स्ट legislation on artificial intelligence. And why it is important? See, wherever the superlative word is there, first, second, in terms in the case of India also, in case of world also, that you should keep in mind, there is likely to chance to ask in your exam. So ये एक regulatory framework है for the artificial intelligence technologies के ऊपर that will mitigate risk associated with AI system and establish the clear guidelines for developers, users के लिए, regulators के लिए, right. तो इसमें आपको इतनी चीज़ें समझनी है. The very first thing that you should know, who took initiative the world first legislation on artificial intelligence? European Unions, right. My friend, I am telling you the one statement that you need to tell in the comment section कि यूरोपियन यूनियन में जितने भी कंट्रीज हैं सब के सब यूरो को एक्सेप्ट नहीं करते हैं. So the objective of the European Union AI Act to create a regulatory framework for AI technologies, mitigate risk associated with the AI system, The strength of the Act, one of the notable strengths of the European Union AI Act is risk-based approach. The legislation categories for AI application into different risk level ranging from unacceptable to low, and this approach enables tailored regulation. One of the criticism of the EU AI Act is the challenge in accurately defining and categorizing AI application. चलो जी. नेक्स्ट वन है इंडिया फर्स्ट विंटर टू ऑफ आर्कटिक रिसर्च वाइट मैटर्स. तो ये हम डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, राइट. एक साल बार ट्रीटी साइन हुई थी 1920 में. In that case, that we signed the India, that is signed the Sailbar Treaty in Paris in 1920, but it took until 2007 for the first Indian expedite for the compromising the scientists to visit the International Arctic Research Facility. So that is the basis in the Arctic, that was the impact of warming. So the temperature in the Arctic region that have risen about 4 degrees Celsius average over the last 100 years, right? Now we move to this one we have already discussed. Here is the quick tips, and quick tips is here MBBS Spain. Here is Maldives, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, Nepal. So with the help of this one, और ये इस साल के AILET के एग्जाम में भी आया क्वेश्चन, और इंडिया लॉ एंट्रेंस टेस्ट. States in India sharing boundary with Bhutan, Sikkim, Arunachal, Assam and Bengal. And question of the day, the very first question is here. Regarding the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List, which statement is accurate? Many times we have discussed in the newspaper analysis as well. And वो क्या है हमारा? And C is the right answer. UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List is a compilation maintained by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization that recognize and safeguards cultural practices, traditions, knowledge and skills that are considered intangible cultural heritage. Consider the statement. First session of Indian National Congress that was presided over Dadabhai Naoroji. First woman to address an open session of the Indian National Congress was Kadambini Ganguly, also the first woman graduate of Calcutta University. The first session of the INC, it was established in the 1885. It was not Dadabhai Naoroji, that was W.C. Banerjee. So the statement 1 is only incorrect. The Indian National Congress conducted its first session in Bombay from 28th से 31st December के बीच में. Last week of December 1885. It was presided by W.C. Banerjee. Banerjee कहीं दो नाम लिखे होते हैं. So Kadambini Ganguly was the first female graduate from India as well as from the entire British Empire. She was also the first woman to address an open session of Indian National Congress in 1890. Which of the following groups of planets are considered as gas giants in our solar system? Saturn, Mars, Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn and Jupiter. तो इसका आंसर क्या होना चाहिए? And B is the right answer. So gas giants are large planets that compose mostly of gases such as hydrogen and helium with a relatively small rocky core. So the gas giants in our solar system, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune, that together make up a group known as the Jovian planets. Next one, which substance is used in cloud seeding to promote the formation of ice crystals in cloud? So ice crystals in clouds के लिए क्या use करते हैं? AgI, silver iodide, AgI. Silver iodide is a common substance used in cloud seeding. When released into a cloud, silver iodide particles provide a surface for ice crystals to form around, and this process is intended to modify the cloud's microphysical properties and potentially enhance precipitation. Pradhan Mantri G1 Yojana aims to build climate resilient cities, control air pollution in metro cities, provide financial support to the integrated bioethanol project and promote conversion of organic waste into biogas. So C is the right answer. The government of India has been working towards the adoption of biofuels because हमारी मोस्ट ऑफ द डिपेंडेंसी जो है वो हमारी पेट्रोल एंड डीजल के ऊपर है. दिस इज नॉट गुड फॉर द एनवायरमेंट. So towards the adoption of biofuels, the Parliamentary G1 Yojana that provides financial support to integrated bioethanol projects to set up second generation ethanol project. So dear friends, this is all about the session, and I hope that I made each and every concept in very simple and lucid manner. But despite having all this, if you have any issue regarding this session, any comment, any feedback, please let us know in the comment section. Make sure if you are new in this channel, please subscribe our channel and do not forget to press the bell icon so you will get the notification of all our Pratham Test Prep mentors. Stay tuned. We'll meet you tomorrow for the same. Till then, bye bye and take care.